Power is not luxury, prestige, or decoration. Power is survival. It is the invisible shield that keeps your existence intact in a world that constantly seeks to bend, drain, and consume whatever appears weak. The moment you step into this world, you're placed into a silent arena where every interaction is an exchange of leverage. Those who understand this truth rise. Those who deny it get swallowed. Look closely. Those who are timid, transparent, and eager to please are used as stepping stones, forgotten once their usefulness ends. They are praised for being good, humble, or kind, but behind closed doors, they are handled like tools. Why? Because the world instinctively recognizes that softness without strength is vulnerability. Anything vulnerable is either controlled or removed. The illusion many cling to is that fairness exists, that others will reciprocate what you give. But fairness is not a natural state, it is a privilege enforced by power. Respect is not given, it is leveraged. Safety is not granted, it is defended. Comfort is not offered, it is demanded through presence and influence. Without power, you are disposable, a voice unheard, a body easily replaced. Power begins within. It starts with the realization that no one is coming to save you. The world does not pity the powerless. It simply moves over them. When you understand that, you awaken. You start to see that every person, group, or system that touches your life evaluates you consciously or not by what you offer and how easily you can be controlled. If they sense fragility, hesitation, or emotional instability, they will manipulate you. If they sense steel beneath your calm, they will treat you differently. To guard yourself, you must first guard your inner world, your motivations, fears, strategies, and weaknesses. The one who exposes everything destroys themselves. When you speak too freely, you give others the tools to restrain you. When you reveal your intentions, you allow others to anticipate and sabotage your moves. Silence is not emptiness, it is protection. Mystery is not concealment, it is advantage. True power is quiet. It does not scream for validation. It does not require applause. It exists independently. When your power is internal, no one can strip it from you because it is rooted in self-control, knowledge, and discipline. The world respects those who stand firm, who do not crumble under pressure. Strength is not merely physical or loud. It is psychological dominance. When someone looks into your eyes and senses that you cannot be easily bent, negotiations change, arguments dissolve, hostility folds. Those who carry power walk into the same room as everyone else, yet they experience a different reality, not because the world is kinder to them, but because they have built themselves into something the world must acknowledge. To survive, you must learn to read people. Human nature rarely changes. Behind every smile lies motive. Behind every offer lies an expectation. Even kindness is often transactional. When you understand this, you stop taking things personally. You become an observer, not a pawn. You watch how people move, what they want, where their insecurities lie. Information becomes your armor. The one who knows is safer than the one who assumes. Power demands emotional discipline. The undisciplined are easily provoked. They reveal themselves through anger, fear, jealousy, or neediness. The strong remain internal. They respond only when it benefits them. They do not explain themselves to those who are not worth explanation. They do not react simply because someone wants them to. They decide. This alone separates the elevated from the broken. Guarding yourself requires awareness of the environments you step into. Every space has rules spoken or unspoken determining who leads and who follows. To ignore them is to invite defeat. You must learn to adapt. Adaptation is not surrender, it is intelligence. When water flows, it takes the shape of the vessel, yet remains water. So must you. Bend when necessary, but never lose your essence. Power also lies in controlling what you prioritize. The world is filled with distractions designed to keep you reactive, unfocused, and weak. People waste their lives chasing approval, drowning in indulgence, or escaping their fear of discomfort. But discomfort is where strength is born. If you run from difficulty, you run from growth. If you confront it, you sharpen. Guard your time, your attention, your energy. These are the currencies of power. People will try to drain them in subtle ways, offering nothing valuable in return. Learn to say no without explanation. You do not owe access to anyone. The more selectively you give your presence, the more your presence is respected. Power is survival because without it, you are merely carried by the currents of other people's desires. With it, you carve your own path. Without it, you are a pawn. With it, you become the one who moves the board. Without it, you are forgotten. With it, you are remembered. Adaptation is the highest intelligence of power. Ruthlessness is the reinforcement that guards it. In a world that shifts without warning, only the adaptable continue forward, while the rigid and gentle are quietly moved aside. People praise softness as virtue, but in reality, softness without boundaries becomes a fertile ground for exploitation. Those who refuse to adapt cling to outdated habits and ideals, believing that consistency alone will protect them. Yet the world is not sentimental. It evolves, and it expects you to evolve with it. The gentle assume that good intentions shield them from harm. They believe that if they remain honest, patient, and transparent, they will be rewarded. But the truth is, such traits only matter when backed by strength. Without strength, gentleness is misread as permission. Permission to take advantage. Permission to disrespect. Permission to control. The world sees kindness without power as weakness. It responds not with gratitude, but with hunger. Predictability is another silent threat. When others can foresee your next move, they can shape circumstances to their advantage while limiting your choices. Predictable people are easy to manipulate, easy to pacify, and easy to replace. Their patterns become cages that others use to steer them. If you always respond emotionally, those emotions will be used against you. If you always forgive, betrayal will be repeated. If you always remain loyal, even to the disloyal, then your loyalty becomes a leash tied around your own neck. Adaptation means understanding that nothing stays the same, not people, not relationships, not opportunities, not environments. The adaptable can move through many worlds, adjusting their methods without losing their core. They bend without breaking, they observe before acting. They enter rooms without needing to dominate, yet they can dominate when the moment demands it. Adaptation is intelligence in motion. It is strategy applied to reality rather than fantasy. Ruthlessness is not cruelty for its own sake. It is the ability to make decisions without letting fear, guilt, or sentiment weaken the necessary action. To be ruthless is to execute what must be done, even when it makes you appear cold. It means enforcing boundaries without apology. It means cutting ties when they become chains. It means recognizing that some situations cannot be negotiated, only conquered or abandoned. The world rewards those who can detach when necessary. Too many cling to failing relationships, dying dreams, and unworthy attachments because they are afraid of the discomfort that change brings. But attachment to what no longer serves you is a slow form of self-betrayal. Adaptation requires you to shed what is outdated, whether it is a perspective, a skill, a relationship, or even an identity. The person you were last year may not be capable of handling the storms coming next year. Ruthlessness protects adaptation. Without ruthlessness, adaptation becomes hesitant. The mind knows it must change, but the heart delays. The ruthless act. They do not wait for permission. They do not wait for perfect timing. They do not wait for others to agree. They move, and the world adjusts around them. People may call them selfish, unfeeling, or aggressive, but these are names the powerless assign to those who refuse to live on their knees. The gentle believe the world should treat them kindly because they treat others kindly, but the world operates on leverage, not sympathy. Those who bring value without protecting themselves are consumed. They are the first to be sacrificed when pressure rises. History is full of gentle souls whose talents were harvested while their bodies were forgotten. Those who survive are the ones who learned that softness must be balanced with steel. To adapt, one must observe before speaking, understand before acting, plan before committing, study people's ambitions, fears, and weaknesses. Adaptation begins with awareness. When you understand what others desire, you can position yourself as necessary. When you understand what they fear, you can avoid becoming their target. When you understand their weaknesses, you can protect yourself from being controlled. Every environment has its own rules. What creates success in one setting may create failure in another. Adaptation is recognizing the environment, then aligning your behavior to maximize advantage. In some rooms, silence gives you power. In others, confidence commands attention. Sometimes you strike, other times you wait. The adaptable do not fix themselves to one method. They carry many tools and choose the right one depending on the landscape. Ruthlessness extends inward. You must be ruthless with yourself, ruthless with your laziness, your excuses, your illusions. Many people fail not because others defeat them, but because they never overcome their own weaknesses. To adapt, you must confront the habits that chain you to mediocrity. Eliminate what wastes your time. Strengthen what builds your advantage. Do not hesitate when the old version of you must die for the new one to rise. There will be times when ruthlessness means letting go of what feels safe. Growth often requires discomfort, and adaptation demands sacrifice. The predictable cling to comfort, the powerful pursue progress. Every reinvention is an act of destruction, destroying the outdated patterns within you so that something stronger can be constructed. Those who fear this destruction remain stagnant, and stagnation is death wearing patience as disguise. The gentle are used because they avoid conflict. They believe that saying yes keeps them safe. In truth, it chains them to obligations they never desired. They are replaced because they fail to evolve. They wait to be chosen rather than choosing themselves. The ruthless choose, they take. They define their role instead of accepting the one handed to them by others. Adaptation and ruthlessness are not opposing forces. They are partners. Adaptation gives you the knowledge to change. Ruthlessness gives you the courage to act. Without both, survival is uncertain. With both, you become untouchable. Power is not always based on truth. Often, it is built upon perception. The world does not see you as you are. It sees you as you appear. Those who fail to shape their image allow others to define it for them. And once that happens, they lose control of the narrative that governs how they are treated. Authority begins long before a single command is spoken. Authority is the silent recognition others give you when your presence alone communicates certainty, direction, and weight. This recognition is crafted through image, controlled emotions, and strategic alliances. Your image is your armor. It is the first language others read before hearing your voice. Appear uncertain, needy, or chaotic, and you will be handled as such. Appear confident, stable, and reserved, and doors open before you even knock. People form judgments instantly. Those judgments are difficult to reshape. Therefore, control what people see. Present yourself as someone whose time is valuable, whose mind is sharp, whose silence means you're calculating rather than clueless. When others perceive you as disciplined, they treat you with caution. When they perceive you as careless, they treat you with disrespect. Image is not deception, it is arrangement. You decide what pieces of yourself face the world and which remain behind closed doors. The strongest individuals reveal little, conceal much, and allow their actions to speak only what is necessary. What you show should reinforce the narrative that benefits you. That narrative might be mystery, authority, competence, or scarcity. The less accessible you appear, the more others will value access. To maintain power, you must govern your emotions with iron control. Emotions are fuel when used strategically, but they are poison when they control you. Those who are easily angered, easily flattered, or easily offended are simple to manipulate. If someone knows what provokes you, they can predict you. If they can predict you, they can control you. The powerful stay internal. Their reactions are calculated, not spontaneous. They do not show fear when threatened, nor exuberance when praised. The less emotional information you provide, the less leverage others can obtain. Emotional control begins with understanding that reaction is power given away. When someone insults you, they are testing how much control they can gain over your state. Responding emotionally teaches them that you are accessible through pressure. Remaining unmoved teaches them that their influence is zero. The strongest revenge is indifference. The most intimidating expression is calm. When chaos erupts, the one who stays composed becomes the natural center of authority, because others instinctively seek stability. Your vision must guide your emotions, not the other way around. Feelings fluctuate, strategy endures. There will be times when you feel anger, disappointment, fear, or pride, but these must be internal experiences, not outward broadcasts. Let your emotions inform you, not expose you. Use them to understand where your boundaries lie, what your values are, and what actions reinforce your power. When you feel threatened, analyze instead of reacting. When you feel desire, calculate before pursuing. Emotions are allies only when dictated by discipline. Control of alliances is equally essential. No one rises entirely alone, but those who rise depend on the right hands, not many hands. Alliances are tools, valuable when sharpened, dangerous when misplaced. The people around you become the frame through which others interpret you. Surround yourself with mediocrity, and your image shrinks. Surround yourself with capable, respected individuals, and your image expands. Those with power choose allies deliberately, not through convenience or emotion. They seek those who bring strength, information, or influence. They avoid those who drain energy or create chaos. Yet alliances must be balanced. Lean too heavily on one connection, and your independence crumbles. Power lies in maintaining the ability to walk alone whenever necessary. Alliances should be mutually beneficial but never essential to your survival. When others know you can thrive without them, they treat you with greater respect. Dependence invites domination. Autonomy demands admiration. A strategic alliance is not only about who supports you, but also about who aligns with your direction. Not everyone around you must be a friend. Some will simply be allies of circumstance. Respect their roles, but never confuse them with loyalty. Loyalty is rare, often temporary, and always conditioned on advantage. Understand this. Those who appear loyal today may drift tomorrow when opportunity shifts. Build your alliances with functionality, not fantasy. Present yourself as someone who brings benefit but does not beg. People gravitate toward power because it offers protection and opportunity. When your image communicates stability, competence, and quiet strength, others seek your presence because it elevates them. In return, you gain influence merely by existing, but the reverse is also true. Desperation repels. Those who seem eager to please are used for short-term gain, then discarded when no longer useful. Control your narrative by becoming selective. Not everyone deserves your attention or your explanation. When you speak, be concise. When you act, be deliberate. The powerful do not justify themselves to everyone. They reserve their words for people who matter. Silence combined with strategic expression builds mystique. When people cannot easily understand your motivations, they tread carefully. Your alliances must also be evaluated repeatedly. People change, interests shift. An ally today can become an obstacle tomorrow. Maintain awareness without sentiment clouding your judgment. If someone begins to drain more than they contribute, distance without drama. If someone becomes a threat, neutralize their influence quietly. Power does not require loud conflict. Often it moves through subtle redirection. Authority is crafted, not granted. Image, emotional control, and alliances create a structure others perceive as strength. That perception becomes reality. When people believe you are formidable, they treat you as such. When they sense confidence, they offer compliance. When they sense certainty, they follow. Power begins with the self, shapes the environment, and reinforces itself through perception. Those who fail to control how they are seen become shaped by others. Those who fail to master their emotions become puppets of manipulators. Those who fail to choose alliances carefully become bound to people who limit their growth. Through mastery of image, emotions, and alliances, authority transforms from illusion into lived experience. Power is not always loud. The strongest forces often move unseen, shaping the world in silence while others waste energy trying to be noticed. To dominate the game, you must resist the impulse to prove yourself openly. Those who constantly need attention reveal their insecurities, and insecurity is a scent predator's track with precision. True influence is subtle. It operates beneath the noise, guiding outcomes with minimal exposure. When power is quiet, it is difficult to challenge because no one knows where to strike. Most people believe domination requires constant aggression, but that merely exhausts resources and exposes vulnerabilities. The wise understand that the most efficient victories are those achieved without prolonged conflict. They gather information, study patterns, and choose moments with surgical precision. They allow others to reveal themselves their ambitions, alliances, strengths, and weaknesses while they remain still. Silence becomes a weapon, patience a tactical advantage. When it is time to act, they strike not to warn, but to end. Dominating quietly begins with understanding the environment. Every system, social, political, professional, personal, has pressure points. These points direct the flow of influence and determine who rises or falls. Most people ignore them, focusing instead on appearances or popularity. But true power lies in navigating the structural backbone beneath the surface. Identify who holds influence, who desires it, and who is threatened by it. Understand motivations before attempting to influence outcomes. If you do not understand the game, you are not a player, you are a piece. To remain unseen is to remain unpredictable. Those who cannot predict you cannot prepare against you. The moment your patterns become obvious, others begin building strategies around your moves. They block your progress, undermine your plans, or rally alliances to counterbalance you. But when you move quietly, others underestimate you, thinking you are passive, distracted, or harmless. Meanwhile, you gather leverage. The element of surprise becomes your greatest ally. Avoid unnecessary confrontation. Most battles are not worth fighting. They cost more than they reward. The powerful refrain from acting until the action guarantees advantage. This restraint is not weakness, it is strategy. Only fools rush into conflict to soothe their pride. The wise save their power for decisive moments, where one well-placed strike accomplishes more than 1,000 arguments. This is not about avoiding conflict. It is about choosing conflict that is already won before it begins. To leave no threat behind means that when it becomes necessary to act, the action must be final. Half measures create future enemies. Those you injure but do not destroy will recover, remember, and retaliate. If you remove a threat, remove it completely, not necessarily through violence, but through strategic isolation, discreditation, or displacement. Ensure there is no path back to power for those who once sought to undermine you. The world rewards those who finish what they start. Mercy without calculation is fertile ground for betrayal. Quiet domination requires mastery of invisibility and influence. Not invisibility in the physical sense, but in intention. People should not easily decipher what drives you or where you intend to go. Share nothing without purpose. If you speak, it should be to guide others toward the conclusions you want them to reach, never to reveal your own. This creates a reality in which your influence feels natural, as though others arrived at decisions independently, unaware you were the architect. Strategic distance is essential. Be close enough to control, but far enough to deny involvement. When you influence outcomes indirectly, you avoid backlash while still shaping events. If problems arise, they land at someone else's feet, not yours. This protects your reputation and preserves your power. Those who dominate openly absorb the hatred of those beneath them. Those who dominate quietly allow others to absorb the blame. Control your reactions. Let no one pull you from silence into rashness. Your calm is unsettling to the emotionally chaotic. They cannot understand someone who does not respond to provocation. Their confusion becomes your shield because unpredictability dissolves their strategy. When you refuse to dance to their rhythm, you force them to move to yours. The battlefield becomes yours without lifting a hand. You must accept that most people are controlled by impulses. They speak when angry, act when scared, and reveal their desires without hesitation. These impulses are weaknesses. When you can watch others reveal themselves while revealing nothing in return, you position yourself above them. Their emotions control them. Your discipline controls the outcome. Quiet domination also demands that you build influence without announcing it. When you form alliances, do so discreetly. When you acquire resources, do so without spectacle. When you gather information, do so without drawing attention. The less others know about what you possess, the less they can sabotage. Power that is visible invites challenge. Power that is hidden invites security. A quiet player knows when to appear vulnerable. Sometimes weakness is a mask, a strategy meant to lower defenses and gather information. Allow others to underestimate you. It makes them careless. They reveal their intentions, expose their flaws, and grant you access to their inner workings. Once you understand them fully, you can dismantle them with precision. When they realize you are not what they assumed, it is already too late. When you finally strike, it must be with such clarity and finality that the conflict ends immediately. Strike only when you know the outcome favors you beyond doubt. Preparation makes this possible, studying the opponent, weakening their alliances, controlling their narrative, and positioning yourself where their loss benefits you without entangling you in chaos. The best strike is one that removes the threat so thoroughly that no retaliation is possible. After the dust settles, you remain untouched, unknown to be the cause, or too powerful to challenge. Remaining quiet does not mean being passive. It means being deliberate. Every move is chosen, not forced. Every alliance is strategic, not emotional. Every strike is calculated, not impulsive. Those who dominate loudly rely on fear. Those who dominate quietly rely on inevitability. The former must constantly demonstrate power to maintain control. The latter maintains control without demonstration. One burns out, the other endures. The world is not gentle, and it does not pity those who approach it with open hands and unguarded hearts. It rewards those who understand its silent laws, those who guard their inner world, adapt rapidly to change, shape their own image, master their emotions, choose alliances with precision, and move strategically without seeking applause. Power is not given, it is crafted. It is built through discipline, awareness, and calculated action. To survive, and more importantly, to rise, you must embrace a mindset that rejects naive expectations and replaces them with clarity. You must learn to think beyond the obvious, to see people not only as they present themselves, but as they operate beneath the surface. You must recognize that every interaction carries consequence, that respect is earned through controlled strength, and that influence comes to those who treat life like the strategic battlefield it is. Guard your thoughts because they reveal your intentions. Guard your emotions because they reveal your weaknesses. Guard your alliances because they determine the battlefield around you. The world tests every individual, some collapse, others endure. The difference lies in how they prepare, how they observe, and how they respond when pressure arrives. Move silently, think deeply, act with intention. Let your presence feel steady, your motives unreadable, your focus unwavering. When you strike, do so decisively. When you build, build quietly. When you speak, speak with purpose. Through such control, you transform from someone who is shaped by the world into someone who shapes it. In the end, power belongs to those who refuse to be broken, to those who evolve, who prepare, who know when to wait and when to act. The world bends not for the hopeful, but for the disciplined, not for the loud, but for the strategic, not for the gentle, but for the unshakable.